What is banking? Is our money safe in banks? Banks, institutions that are controlling the world, controlling our debts, our money, our properties, our future, wars, our children's future, and anything you can think of. But is our money safe in banks? And how about our future? Is it safe? This video is about answering all these questions, but let's learn how banking system works and when they started. Banking history goes back really far from now. The first banks were prototype banks, that is the merchants of the world, who gave grain loans to farmers and traders who carried goods between cities. This was around 2000 BCE in Assyria, India, and Sumeria. But we don't really care about it, right? Because today's banking system is very different and they don't work with loaves of breads anymore. So let's go to a more relevant time. So welcome to 14th century. The Bardi and Pruzzi families dominated banking in 14th century. Florence establishing branches in many other parts of Europe. Development of banking spread from northern Italy throughout the Holy Roman Empire and in the 15th and 16th century to Northern Europe. This was followed by a number of important innovations that took place in Amsterdam during the Dutch Republic in the 17th century and in London since the 18th century. Surely lots of things happened in these centuries, but actually we don't care because that doesn't show us the new banking system either. So let's go a little further. Modern banking practice, including fractional reserve banking and the issue of banking notes, emerged in the 15th century. At the time, wealthy merchants began to store their gold with the goldsmiths of London, possessed private vaults and charged a fee for their service. In exchange for each deposit of precious metal, the goldsmith issued a receipt certifying the quantity and purity of the metal they held as a bailey. These receipts could not be assigned, only the original depositor could collect the stored goods. What actually happened is that the goldsmiths began to lend the money out on behalf of the depositor, which led to the development of the modern banking practices, or promissory notes, which evolved into banknotes were issued for money deposited as a loan to the goldsmith. But with this system, as you can see, we don't have the old banking system anymore because this made a new kind of money that we call it debt. So it simply means the bank takes your money and promises you that your money is safe and they get a fee because of their services. But what they actually do to make them profit is that they give your money to others as if that money was their own money. So as you can see, this means that banks loan you money that they don't even have. That is actually your money that they are giving to you. Well, in the 18th century, services offered by banks increased. Clearing facilities, security investments, checks, and overdraft protections were introduced. And over time, the number of banks increased during the Industrial Revolution and the growing international trade, especially in London. At the same time, new types of banking and financial activities broadened the scope of banking. The merchant banking families dealt in everything from underwriting bonds to originating foreign loans. So now you may ask, okay, I understand that banking was growing, right? But what the hell does banking mean? Okay, great question. So let's look at the meaning of the word bank. A bank is a financial institution that is licensed to accept checking and saving deposits and make loans. Banks also provide related services such as individual retirement accounts or IRAs, certificates of deposits or CDs, currency exchange, and safe deposit boxes. Okay, so now we know what are banks and what they do, right? But still, we did not get our answer. Is our money safe in banks? At first, I thought the answer is obvious, right? I thought the answer is yes, but after a little research, I found out that the answer is actually no. And I don't mean just no, I mean a big no. I mean if only 30% of the people go and ask for their money in the banks, all banks will go bankrupt. It's because, as I said earlier, they loan the money that they don't even have. And another reason is that they are printing money that is worthless. What I mean is that if you look at the past, you see that for every dollar that Federal Reserve was printing, they would save gold, because the dollar's worth was because of the gold that they would stack for printing the dollar, right? But now they don't do that anymore. I may make another video about how they are stealing our money and life and what I mean about that. But for now, I wanted to explain how the dollar you hold in your hand is worthless. And the other thing that you should not forget is that all the money in US is owned by Fed, or the Federal Reserve. The interesting and also the scary thing is that Federal Reserve is not owned by a government. It's actually a private institution that owns all our money and can print money whenever and however they want to. So the money you have is worthless and is not safe in banks, as you saw at the SVB Bank situation or Silicon Valley Bank. That crisis could happen to every other bank, and it will happen sooner or later. That I will tell you why in another video. If you remember, I asked a second question at the start of the video, and it was, is our future safe in the hands of banks? First, let me explain to you why our future is in the hands of banks and not governments. The reason is very simple. Banks have more money than governments, and most of companies are owned by banks. So the actual ruler of our countries are not governments. They're just puppets that their campaigns are paid with banks' money, and they are puppets that work for the banks that are paying them. I hope you found this video interesting, and please share it if you liked it. Thanks for your time, and do not forget to like and subscribe my videos, and wait for my future videos.